Hi everyone. Welcome to Adventures with Raven and Rowley. I'm Raven and this is Rowley. Last week I talked about the pros and cons of living in a Class A versus a fifth wheel full time. This week I'll be reviewing the black tank, the RV black tank versus a 5-gallon bucket toilet. If you're curious, please join us on this journey and continue to watch. This is a personal review of the value of each of these toileting systems and why you might choose either one. I'll be talking about the RV black tank versus the 5-gallon bucket dry composting toilet. Wet composting toilet is where everything goes in one bucket. I will talk about the positives and the negatives of each method of human waste disposal. Dealing with the black tank isn't a difficult thing and shouldn't be feared. The black tank underneath my rig is here. This thing that connects the hose connects to this tank. That's the black tank, totally underneath the rig. It's here, it's here, it's here. That's the connection. The elbow. This connects to this tank. And that's the black tank. So that comes out here. And the black tank isn't very difficult. I mean, none of this is difficult. So you buy these hoses. I buy them about once a year, about $35 for, I think it's 20 feet. This is the black tank thing to open the black tank. My black tank is disconnected, which I'll show you in a minute, so it doesn't matter that the handle is broken. This is the gray tank. You notice that the hose coming in is smaller than the black tank. The black tank is larger than the gray tank. And mine stays open because, I don't know, it stays open because I don't have a black tank. So I just let the water run out. If you have a black tank, it's best to close both of them so that you have water to wash out the hose. For instance, when you're emptying the tank, you pull the lever for the thing for the black tank to open it up, and so it all comes down the tank and into the ground. And then after it finishes emptying out, you close it off, and then you open the gray tank so that the dishwater, the bath water, whatever it is, washes out this tube. Okay, so you never really have a really big mess. And this goes right into the ground. You don't have to screw it in or anything. Well, mine is shoved in there really good, so I'd have to pull it out. But it just sits in the ground. Some people have clear things. I don't see any reason at all that I need to look at my shit. Now, I got a new 10-gallon hot water heater, this black thing here. So before that, my black tank was completely disconnected. When they put in the hot water heater, this is the hot water heater. This thing that's all wrapped up, the white, is the hot water heater insulation. This hose here is the water inlet for water storage in that white tank. I don't use it. I go directly from the water inlet to the house. You'll notice that way up here in the corner, I don't know if you can see that, This is where the black tank came down and connected to that spot right there. So it was kind of an elbow shaped, and the black tank is underneath, as I showed you. But since the black tank was totally disconnected, I could put in a larger hot water heater. So I now have a 10-gallon hot water heater instead of a 6-gallon. The black tank is prone to clogging. It has structural failures. It gets leaks in the plumbing and stuff, and sometimes you end up smelling it through the entire house because of the leak underneath, and you take forever to find it. It can be easily damaged on the undercarriage of the RV if you're traveling in places that aren't flat, like going out into the wilderness boondocking. You've got to be aware that whatever scrapes up underneath the bottom of your rig will scrape the tanks, the black tank and the gray tank. And the black tank and the gray tank are very expensive to repair or replace. You should know, though, that this never, ever, ever happens to the black tank. Now, this kind of thing does happen where you have to get up in the middle of the night and dump the tank. In my case, I got up late one night, and it was dark. Had to put on my headlamps to see and all that kind of stuff. The gray water was coming up in the shower, in the bottom of the shower. So if we had turned on the sink or anything, it would have ended up overflowing the shower lip and getting into the carpet and wicking out throughout the entire rig. So it had to be emptied right away. So that means I got up out of the bed, threw on a jacket and some decent shoes instead of my slippers, and went out to empty this tank. Well, what I didn't realize was, I was half blind, is I just went out and pulled the lever. What I didn't realize was that the other end of the hose was not in the hole in the ground. So my stinky slinky was slinking like a fire hose. Woke me up right away. So I ended up turning and pushing the lever back in to stop, But I ended up going in the house and getting a pail so that I could pour water. And then I got a broom, which I threw out afterwards, and got a new broom. In order to sweep everything into the hole in the ground and wash down the area, that kind of thing. So 2 seconds of checking turned into a half an hour of cleanup, and then a shower, and then back out to empty the tank again because I had just filled it up with the shower. Right now in this rig, I have a dry composting toilet. My toilet separates the urine and the feces. Start it again. I have a composting toilet that I had a friend make for me. It's really kind of nice. The trouble was he made it just a little bit too tall, so I had to make a platform to put my feet on. Actually, he made it the perfect size, except that I have a urine separator in here. So originally he put the urine separator on top and secured it on top, and then put the lid down. Well, I was getting a nice case of splashback on that, and I was literally sitting in my own urine. So I had him take it back and put it mounted underneath. And he also had put the hinges back here. He had put the hinges way up at the back so that when I tried to open it, it would hit the wall. So he had to put new hinges in, piano hinges, which rust. And but they're good. and he put the separator underneath the wood. That was made, the floor made my feet dangle, so I put a 2x4 and a 1/2 inch plywood on top of that, so got 2 inches up. So that makes it pretty, that made it pretty good. Now the problem too was still, I was getting splashback. So I put 2 toilet seats together, one upside down, with the little feet in between, to add another inch of height, which kind of did it. And I secured it good old duct tape, so I can take it apart and, you know, wash it and all that kind of stuff. The aluminum foil I change out, I don't know, probably once a month, and I use a double layer of aluminum foil. So when I have to do something other than urinate, this makes sure that the urine goes where it's supposed to be. I just take it out, throw it over into that tub or whatever, and then put it back in after I wash it off, of course. To wash it off, I have good old-fashioned Dawn bottle filled with water. I used to put vinegar water in here, but I figured, hey, toilets flush with just water, so then I can just clean it out, just like everybody else does. I keep, these are 5-gallon buckets, goes to show you how big my bathtub is. It's big enough though, it works. It's my 5-gallon buckets. I keep my sawdust in here and use toilet paper in here. To the bottom of this, I double bag it, so that, not that you really needed to see this, but I double bag it, and I put the square thing for catching urine. I put chemicals in there. I'll show you the chemicals in a little bit. Okay, to empty that, I actually use the sink. My sink is outside of the toilet in the tub area, and I don't use this sink for anything other than washing my hands and emptying that urine. Because I have a holding tank, you know, a gray tank, I do use chemicals, because the urine will sit in the bottom of the tank until I take a shower or wash dishes or something else. So I don't want, you know, lime scale or whatever it is, I don't want anything building up in there. So when I do pour the urine in here, which is about once a day, I wash out the sink with Clorox, and then I use a bottle to get water and flush it all around the sink. There is a certain amount of ethics to composting toilets, and you know, the ethics of dumping human waste. I mean, people talk about when you say you're doing composting toilet, they get this like shocked look in their face, like, what do you do with the poop? You know, well, you throw it out. You know, same as you do with dog poop or baby poop. You know, people poop, I mean, adult people poop is a little bit different than baby poop in that there's a lot more of it and it's more solid in general. So, you know, same thing with dog poop. It's poop. You know, you can throw it away. It's okay. Okay. Urine, on the other hand, is the problem, and that is about where to dump it. You can't put it on, just pour it out on the ground. I mean, and definitely don't pour it into rain gutters, because if that floods, that's in the system. You know. Usually, people throw it down a toilet or a sink. If you're living out on the road, you would probably go into places like the Walmart bathroom and carry your container and just pour it out and rinse it out, and you know, that's that. If you're out in the wild, you could put it on your fire pit if you're in a place where there are fires. That allow fires, or you can dig a cat hole. A cat hole is a hole that is 6 to 8 inches deep and about as wide as a trowel. And pour it in there, you know, let it sink into the ocean. Next time you go another 50 feet, 100 feet or whatever, someplace in a different direction, and pour it there so that you're not always pouring in the same spot. And I would never suggest that you never put it on trees. There's far too much nitrogen and will kill the tree after a while, you know. You can buy a 5-gallon bucket system. The most common and the most popular is the luggable loop. You can make your own 5-gallon system. Just get the 5-gallon bucket, $3-4. Get your local whatever place, big box store or hardware store, and a toilet seat, as cheap as $5-6 at places like Walmart. You know, I saw an absolutely genius woman. I tried to find that YouTube video that I saw a while ago, and I've just been unable to find it. But what she did was she took the bucket top, this thing, and she placed the toilet seat on the top, flipped it over, screwed the toilet seat through the top, you know, not far enough so it jabs your butt when you're sitting down. And then she cut out the hole. Of course, it fits absolutely perfectly on a 5-gallon bucket. Comfortably, secure, etc. I don't know why nobody else is doing that. I haven't seen it anywhere else, but that was just a brilliant idea, genius idea. $10, $11 to create your own bucket. I think it's terrific. Now, you've got to have accessories to go with this 5-gallon bucket. I mean, for instance, the garbage bag. I use kitchen size plastic garbage bags, and I double bag my bucket. Of course, if you're out glamping, you can have a pop-up tent for privacy, you know, just to keep it outside of your place of living in case you're afraid of smell. Now, I have a urine diverting system. My diverter is made of fiberglass. It's smooth on the inside. Looks great. But if you pick it up and you turn it over, it's rough, like fiberglass, like it looks like straw almost, except of course it's fiberglass. It is very difficult to clean. I've used Brillo pads, I've used bleach, I've used all kinds of things to try and keep this clean. Drives me crazy. Actually, I would prefer to have just a smooth plastic. I don't know why it's smooth on the inside and not smooth under the bottom. I guess they figure you don't see it, but you have to clean it, you know. So it's very difficult. But I bought it 5 years ago when such things were brand new, you know. Now this blue diverter is very deep in the urine spot, so you don't have to worry about splashback. And it's plastic. It's smooth on both sides, on the where part you sit and clean and pee on or whatever, and underneath so that you can keep it clean and sanitized and that kind of stuff. I like it for everything except one thing. It's blue. I am of an age where I need to be aware of my water intake and if I'm hydrated or not. So blue will not allow me to see the color of my urine, and that is very important to me. So it might be important to you. So keep that in mind if you're going to buy something like this. Okay. Of course, you can make your own urine diverting system. You take that same bucket and attach a funnel and a hose, or a funnel that goes, or whatever, a funnel and a hose that goes into a bottle of some kind, a container of some kind. I use I use aluminum foil on my urine diverter because for some reason I don't know how to aim, and half the time the urine goes into the feces bucket, and that's not a good thing because then you get the smells and all of that kind of good stuff. So you definitely want to keep the urine separated from the feces. Now, a little bit of dribble into that bucket is not a bad thing, but a full out urine release is not going to be good. So I used the aluminum foil to keep the urine going into the urine bottle. Now you can make, as I said, you don't have to actually sit on a bucket. I mean, you could use a foam noodle instead of a toilet seat to cover the edge of the bucket, or if that works for you. But personally, I like to be comfortable when I sit. So, I mean, for instance, at one point I used, while they were building the wooden box for me, I used a commode chair, like a hospital bedside commode that, I mean, it works. It just didn't look great to me anyway. Uh, of course, as I said, you can sit directly on the bucket. Or you can make a wooden container like mine, well, of however shape, size, whatever you like. Or you could really just cut a hole in a chair, a plastic chair or a wooden chair, and put the bucket underneath that. And put your funnel contraption underneath that if you're going to divert the urine. Now, I use sawdust in the bottom of my bucket. So when you put in, I use 2 bags. I put one bag in, and then I put a dryer sheet for deodorizing ability. And then I put in another plastic bag. And in the bottom of that, I'll put a good cup of sawdust. Because I get sawdust for free. I go over to the woodworking shop and get as much of it as I'd like, and get 6 months at a time, But you can use horse bedding. Okay. This is a quart size bag, and I have in it about a handful of cocoa core. Not even a handful. I don't know how much water it takes to expand it, so I'm going to start off with a tablespoon. And the idea is that it's supposed to moisten it and loosen it up, and it becomes suitable for using in the dry composting toilet. So it is now 5:18 p.m. We'll see. This is the horse bedding that I used to use as cat litter. That worked really well. I never intentionally used it for my composting toilet, but let's see. I noticed that when it got wet or moist, it would break down into a very fine powder. I don't know if 1 tablespoon is going to do this, but it might. I mean, this is looking pretty good already. Wow. Of course, this is a little bit more. But see, it's breaking up already. So I think maybe a little bit more water would do it. You don't want it to get it wet. You just want it to get moist enough so this breaks up and becomes this fine powder that you can use in your dry composting toilet. See, it's breaking up nicely. I think maybe another tablespoon would probably do the trick for the whole bag. So let's try that. Because this is more than was in the cocoa core bag. I mean, there's more stuff. See how easily it breaks up? It becomes a nice fine powder. smells wonderful. Smells like pine forest. But you see already, it's already breaking up into a fine powder. And then you can pour this. Once it's broken up, you don't want it wet, you just want it broken up. Once it's soft like that, you can just spread it over your feces. I think, well, we'll see. Today is July 27th. We'll see what it looks like tomorrow morning after it's been sitting a while, because I wouldn't want to have, you know, a pound of this stuff and have to sit there and crush it up every single time I want to fill up the thing, fill up the bucket. It seems to me that it will break down by itself without me doing anything. Or at least that's my hope. Or maybe I just have to bang it a little bit with a rolling pin or something. This one had 2 tablespoons of water. This has 2 tablespoons of water. This has 1 tablespoon of water, and you can see that it's already started breaking up into like a powder. And you use both of these in the toilet. We'll see what they look like tomorrow. I get my sawdust free here at the woodworking shop in the park. I have not used horse bedding pellets or cocoa core in my system here at this house, although I have it available. I haven't used the red cedar bedding either, or cat litter. None of those. In the video, it shows the little horse pellets in the plastic bags, the quart-sized plastic bags. Well, I made a video yesterday, and then I went to edit it and found out somewhere around 9 o'clock last night that I had lost 9/10 of the video. It just didn't record. So I this time, I weighed the horse pellets, these little round things, and this is 1 ounce. And I put 1 tablespoon of water in this. And this is what it looks like the next day. Very soft and fine. Smells wonderful. Okay. And I could probably break up those little bit of those pellets again. Well, maybe not. Just a speck more water. This is what the cocoa core ended up looking like, and it still has quite a bit that hasn't reconstituted. So this alone, and this also weighed 1 ounce. This one I put 2 tablespoons of water into. It ultimately, when this reconstitutes here, this stuff, and it's hard, when it reconstitutes, it'll probably make twice as much. Okay, so this is 1 ounce in each bag. You see that it came out to almost the same. I think the cocoa core makes more bedding than the horse bedding. But both of them work very well, and both of them smell terrific. Oh gosh, yes. I do use chemicals. Where is it? I use a chemical here because I have a black tank and I have a gray tank. And they hold, I mean, it doesn't go directly into the ground. So, you know, you're going to end up with a layer inside of these tanks. You know, like on a bottle with a spigot, you know, there's always a little bit left in the bottom. So I use a chemical. This chemical is 𝒊𝒂𝒑𝒉𝒊𝒆𔥂 by Thetford, and it's blue. I use maybe a tablespoon in the container that holds my urine. So every day I end up using this. Now this bottle lasts me 6 months easily. The problem is they're not making it anymore. I have to get 𝒊𝒂𝒑𝒉𝒊𝒆𥥂. But I like that one because it works really well. Now, thinking about that and thinking about having to camp out in the boonies when I finally get my cargo trailer together, that I will not be using a chemical, because I'm out in nature. This here in this house, from the black tank or the gray tank, it goes into the sewer system. So it's not being distributed out in nature. So I tried vinegar. So I put like a half a cup of vinegar, distilled white vinegar, into the urine container and used it all day long, and it didn't smell. I was surprised that it didn't smell like vinegar in there, but it didn't smell like anything in the bathroom. But I have to tell you about the, where is it? The horse bedding. I used to use in my cat box. I had 5 cats. And people didn't know when they came into the house. They were surprised to see the cats and not smell anything. What happens with that is, of course, you can see it turns into a powder. But what I did was I had a sifting, I had more than one, but a sifting cat box. And I would get the puppy pads that were larger than the base of the box. So then I would have an empty, let's say it was brand new cat box. I took the puppy pad and put it inside of the base of the cat box. Put the sifter on top, put the pellets on top of that. So, every day, whenever it was necessary, I scooped. But once a day, or whenever it was, I figured it was time to change the cat box, I would sift. And, they would leave the unused pellets up on the top. And everything would fall into the puppy pad. So then you just grab the 4 corners of the puppy pad, pick it up, throw it in a garbage bag. Meanwhile, assuming you had done this a couple of times, you would take another puppy pad, and when you're getting ready to do this whole process, you take a puppy pad, stick it on the floor, take the sifter, shake it, put it on top of the puppy pad, and then grab the other one that's full and throw it in the garbage. And this one, you'd pick up by the puppy pads and put it back into the base. So the base always stays clean. Floors don't get messed up. Nothing gets messed up. It's quick, it's easy, and it works beautifully. And the smell was non-existent. You might try that if you have cats. So I hope this information helped you make your choices, which is better for you. Both systems are equally good. If I had a working black tank, I probably would still be using the black tank. But as it was, this one, when I got this rig, was not working. So I empty the composting toilet probably once a week, once every 2 weeks, probably every 2 weeks. I take the inner bag out, and I put it into the bag that holds the waste toilet tissue, so that if anything leaks, it's caught by the toilet tissue, and close all of the bags up and dump it. Take it to the dump. People are not handling the feces. People are not handling the bag with the feces. And it just goes right into the dumpster. So as I said, I hope this helps you make your choice of what works best for you. As for Rowley, the Rowley report. Rowley is afraid of thunder. I didn't know that because it never rains here. And I mean, I've been living here for 4.5 years, and I think I've heard thunder 2 or 3 times, and maybe I saw lightning once before. But the rain we had this week, the monsoon rain we had this week, was unbelievable. The dog park was destroyed, and a week later, the roads are still rutted and that kind of stuff. And I can see that these people here are working like crazy, but there was so much destruction. It was amazing. So things like the dog park can wait. Thanks for watching. Please like, ring the bell, and subscribe to Adventures with Raven and Rowley if you haven't already. And thank you for those who have subscribed. Also, please share my videos. Your help to get to 1,000 subscribers is appreciated. See you next Friday. at 5 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time. Stay safe, take care of you and yours, and blessed be.